Danielle Joworski. We're doing our session today on reality and visibility truths of becoming more visible. Danielle's worked with us a bunch of times, but for those of you who are new to the room, I'd like to let you know, if you're watching live on Facebook, I will be monitoring the chats there, so feel free to throw things into the chats as we move forward. If you are in our Zoom room, feel free to throw things in the chat as well. If you would like to say anything out loud, please just do the raise hand reaction emoji. And Danielle and we're quite happy to have people talk with us as well. We love interaction. So I will just pass this right over because we do have limited time this week. So Danielle, thank you for joining us, and I'll let you take over from here.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Angela. So thank you to you, and thank you to the Business Center Guelph-Wellington for celebrating small businesses in October, which is Small Business Month, and for inviting me to be here today. We are going to be talking about visibility. And when I say we, it's not just me. If you have ever been on a Zoom with me or a webinar with me, I am all about helping you to make sure that you are seen and heard as well, and invite you into the conversation. So before we get off and I share my screen and we get into the presentation, when it comes to visibility in your business, who has ever, you've taken that step, you've stepped out, you've done something new, and you wish someone had told you something about what happens when you become more visible, what happens when you use technology? Share in the chat. You can put a yes, put the thumbs up emoji sign. Have you ever had a situation as you're growing your business that you wished you had known something about what it means and what it looks like to become more visible, what it feels like to become more visible? Thank you, Steve. Got a thumbs up in the chat. Yes, for me, I can fully share as well. And I will share a lot of visibility truths in my own journey as well around visibility. Because the one thing I didn't know, the biggest piece was around technology, is the technology and how to use it, and lots of fears around that. And there's a lot of things I wish people told me about technology starting out. So yeah, so feel free to use the chat. Again, this is a conversation that you are invited to be a part of as well. Yeah, so posting things, selling things online, you think, oh, maybe I'll just get a couple of responses, and you get swamped. Absolutely. Then how do you deal with that? It's great that you have interest, but what happens when you almost have too much interest? How do you respond to everybody? Yes, using SEOs and tech. Yeah, that's whole other language. When you step out and become more visible, when you start doing new things, there's a whole language and learning. The internet makes it look so easy. But when you get into it, there's so much to learn. It's constantly like, as small business owners, we are going to school over and over again. So thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And Angela, if you can just give me a thumbs up to let me know if you can see it. Fantastic. Thank you. So we are talking about really the realities and visibility truths of what it actually can look like and feel like when you are becoming more visible in your business. And we're going to do this for a couple of reasons why, and we'll get into that. At the end of the day, whatever it is that you're doing, however it is that you're stepping out and being seen in your business, where you start is not where you'll stay. If there's one thing you take away from this conversation today, it's this quote: where you start is not where you're going to stay. You're just starting. And where you're starting in your business and visibility journey is completely unique to you. No one else is starting at the same place, because we all have different experience. We're all at the end of the day doing very different things. But when you are approaching growing your business, growing your visibility with that growth mindset, you're just starting. Today is that starting place. And if you continually take steps to practice, to grow, to stretch outside your comfort zone, you're not going to stay where you are today. And that can be something that a lot of people are afraid of, because well, how do I get started? You just have to get started, and then you're going to grow from there. The problem that we're really going to focusing on today is the fact that you have a solution in your business, whether you are service or you are a product provider, you have a solution that other people need to live a better life, a business, or career. So you have a solution. That's great. You have a solution that is unique to you. But, whoop, oh, this really jumped ahead. Excuse me for that. There we go. This is what happens too, and the reality of becoming more visible. So with the problem, you have this solution that you have, you want to get it out, you want to grow your business, you want to share it, which is great. And especially these days, there is so many different ways to be visible. We have online, which has exploded in the last couple of years. And obviously we have in person, with a lot more in-person events and activities happening again. There is no lack of ways to be seen and heard in your business, which is fantastic, but that can also become a problem and a challenge too. So the biggest problem is you know you've got something, you've got a solution, you know there's lots of ways to become more visible, but you have doubts, worries, or fears that are stopping you from taking those next steps ahead. So when you look at these visibility doubts, worries, or fears, which I've shortened here to D, W, or F, who, again, please use the chat. If you're watching us live streaming, put it in the comments, just raise your hand or say yes, say yep. Who has a visibility doubt, worry, or fear right now that you know it's holding you back? It's keeping you playing small, it's keeping you being invisible, but you have this awareness that there is something. Perfect, thank you. I've got thumbs up, all, yes. Thank you for being open and sharing, everybody. I will be fully honest and share that I have a fear around cancel culture because it's apparent, it happens. And what happens when you get people who are not aligned with what it is that you're going to say, because that's your business, you're putting yourself out there. It's a very vulnerable thing that you're doing. What happens when not everyone is agreeing with what you're saying? So fantastic. Thank you everyone for sharing that you too right now have visibility doubts, worries, and fears. And that goes to show as well that we all have them. At the end of the day, you are not alone in having these things that are holding you back. And that's what this conversation is about. One, to make them open, to let you know that you are not alone, but then to also look at strategies and solutions so that you can conquer these doubts, worries, and fears. So the solution that we're going to be focusing on today is really, we're going to normalize the conversation around visibility. We're going to normalize and actually talk about the realities and the truths of what becoming more visible can look and or feel like, so that you are more aware, you know that you're not alone. We're going to be sharing stories. We're going to be sharing our experiences like you've already done in the chat. And we're going to be supporting each other as well. So what can you expect today? You can expect conversation just like this. I'm going to leave, but again, I'm inviting you to be a part of the conversation. I'll be inviting you to share as well. We're going to talk about the realities, the truths, and we're not just going to talk about and focus on the problems and these things that can happen. I'm also going to share with you some solutions. They are not the be all and the end all solutions. However, they are certain solutions that you may be able to implement starting today to help you feel much more comfortable taking that next step to becoming more visible. I'm also going to be asking you to share your solutions as well, because your solution is something that you've learned and implemented that's worked for you may be the solution that someone else is looking for as well. Okay. The benefits from this conversation are when you increase your understanding of the visibility truths, of the realities of becoming visible in your business, you increase your knowledge, your skill, and your awareness. This means that you can identify what gaps you have when it comes to your visibility goals that you have in your presence that you really want to grow. And then you can identify aligned steps that feel really good to you, not worrying about trends, not worrying about what everyone else in your industry is doing, but really identifying the steps that feel really good to you and match where you are in your business and visibility journeys. And when this happens, You decrease the risk, the time, the money, and the energy that you've spent or you're thinking of spending or potentially could spend, because you're being very clear on what it means to be visible. You're identifying what those gaps are, which means you're being able to identify what solutions you need, what specialized knowledge you need that you acquire yourself, or maybe that's where you identify, oh, I need help with that. And when you have more understanding, you're decreasing the risk because there's less unknowns. When you increase your understanding and your skill set or your knowledge or your awareness, it means you can increase the predictability of what's going to happen when you step out and be seen, again, which decreases the risk. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing that. Thank you. Glad to have you here. So a little bit about me before we get into this. So my background is I'm Fortune 500, 20 plus years. I started off in a microbiology lab. That's where my degree is in microbiology. So 20 years in food and pharmaceutical, and then automotive manufacturing as well. I've been in business currently for a little over 4 years. I spent 3 years hosting a TV show. I created, pitched, produced, and hosted the C-suite on Rogers TV in Waterloo region for 3 seasons. And between that and live streaming conversations just like this to really elevate and provide a platform for business owners, I've led over 200 conversations in person and live. But why visibility? Why, out of all the things I could talk about, why visibility? The answer is because at 40, I stepped out of corporate the first time, became a business owner with no plan, no idea what I was doing. The internet made it look so easy, and I failed. I had a really hard time putting myself out there. I had a paralyzing fear of the camera. I would hide, I would record video and spend hours recording video only to delete it or post it on social media and really cross my fingers that nobody would see it. I had a hard time putting myself out there. As a business owner, you're aware, if you cannot put yourself out there, if you cannot be seen and heard, then your clients cannot find you, which means they cannot hire you. After a few years, I returned into the corporate world, and that's where the idea for the C-suite came from. I didn't want other business owners to experience that kind of failure. I didn't want business owners to see visibility as this huge hurdle that you have to overcome. It can be easier. And when I made that step and I went from being afraid of cameras to putting myself right in front of one, hosting a TV show, when I overcame that fear, it really made me realize and find a sense of fulfillment in helping to make that process of becoming more visible easier. Because when it's easier, when you feel good about putting yourself out there, when you're taking strategies that really align and feel aligned, it becomes easier. It means you get to create impact that you imagine, you get to grow your business faster. At the end of the day, who wants to create more impact? Who wants to grow their business? And who wants to do it as easy as possible? Throw your hand up, throw a yes in the chat box if you're wanting to become more visible, if wanting to create that impact in your business easier and faster, if that's something that you would like to do. Wonderful, love it. Thank you. Thank you for all the comments. And if you have direct messaged me, just let you know if it is, I'm getting some questions around that are general questions for everyone. Just change the setting in the to around and then put it out to everyone because Angela is watching the question. So there was a question about a recording, if there's going to be a recording. So thank you. Thank you everyone for sharing. I appreciate this. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so we're going to focus on the realities and truths of becoming more visible. So you can grow your business, you can accelerate it, you can conquer those fears, you can elevate your presence in person or online. We're going to do that by looking at really 2 factors. We're going to look at external factors and internal factors. And these are external and internal realities and truths that are potentially holding you back from becoming more visible, or they are the realities of when you start putting yourself out there. These are some things that you're going to have to, they may become obstacles, they may become challenges, but these are some realities so you can better know and understand what's potentially coming. So then you can put in some solutions, you can mitigate the risks around them, and it can become more easier at becoming more visible. We're going to focus on external realities and truths first. We got the little dog looking out the window at the world around him. When I talk about external realities and truths, these are the things that are outside of you. They are things like technology. We love technology. Technology is fantastic until it doesn't work. And that is the reality, is the fact that technology is great. The problems are there's so much technology sometimes, whether it be social media platforms, whether it be different apps and systems that you can use for technology. There's so much to do with technology. And then when it works, it's great. But when it doesn't work, what happens? When you're live streaming just like this, what happens when all of a sudden an internet connection goes down or the sharing screen doesn't work? Things are going to happen when you start using technology. And there can be people. So an external influence around you is people. So it could be anyone from your audience. It could be your family members. It could be your clients. The people who are around you, they can be elevating you. They can be helping to elevate you so you feel like you're soaring when you're growing your business or your visibility. But at the same time, people, and this is a big visibility truth, not everyone may support you in your business, in your growth, as much as you would like them or at all. That was a huge truth that I had to learn, thinking that I'm doing this great thing, I've got a business, everyone I know is going to say, good for you, Danielle. And then it became, not everybody did, not everybody felt the same way. As you grow in your business as well, sometimes the people around you may not like your growth. They might not agree with how you are approaching your growth in your business and your visibility. And they may not necessarily align, or they may not like it. They may not be happy, because as you grow, sometimes it becomes a reminder to others that they stayed. So understanding that the people around you, they are a beautiful source of support, cheerleading, they are really important, but not everyone around you is necessarily going to want to support you or have your best interests in mind as you're growing your business and visibility. And thank you, Deborah, for that. Yes, truth. And it's, again, hard for me, but this is all about being open and honest with you and sharing what this process could be like as you're growing your business. Another external influence is the external conditions and circumstances. It could be locally, nationally, or even globally. These can really help to influence the steps that you take to become more visible. It may influence how, it may influence where you're showing up. An example for this is just recently on Friday, it was announced a Bill C-11 around the regulation of streaming. And there's a lot of worry around, is this going to potentially mean that podcasts are regulated? So there's lots of things that are going to happen that may start to really create the doubts, worries, and fears that hold you back and keep you visible. At the same time, there's lots of things happening where you may now see opportunities locally, nationally, or around the globe to grow your business. How you see what's happening in your external environment plays a huge role in your ability to come up with different solutions, to step out and to be seen in different ways or new ways, or even, and it's okay sometimes to step back and become visible as you figure out and create strategies and learn how to navigate the different changes happening around you. Some solutions to the external conditions that may be happening around you that keep you playing smaller and visible, or the reality is the fact that when it comes to technology, and this is specifically using a platform, a social media platform, or even a way that you want to become more visible, just pick one. Start with picking one. So pick one social media platform that you want to really focus on. And I'm going to say something that goes a little bit against what a lot of experts say, but it becomes start where you're most comfortable. Talking about social media, I'm big on start on a platform where you're most comfortable. It may not be exactly where your ideal audience is. The thing is, if you're already most comfortable on, say, LinkedIn, you've already got a little bit of following, learn and practice and grow your visibility there. Learn the nuances, become much more comfortable with your voice, the topics that you want to talk about. As you get more comfortable with there, then you can start expanding onto other platforms, because then you're going to be able to leverage that confidence you have on one platform to the others. When I talk about pick one method of becoming visible, it could be, we've got streaming, we've got podcasting, we've got doing video. You want to be on camera. It becomes which one do you do? Pick one. Pick one that feels really good to you right now to focus on when it comes to a strategy. I started very early on. Once I got comfortable on the camera for TV, I started doing video. Then I started going on other people's podcasts so that I didn't have to worry about hosting and doing all the things in the background. After that, I started live streaming so that I was comfortable already using streaming platforms. I then added on to that learning and became a host, so then I could then host the conversations as well. A bonus solution as well, when you're working with technology, some things that I always do before I go online, especially live stream or things that are being recorded, I check my Wi-Fi speed. There's lots of different apps online that you can download for that. And you can just check, what is your upload and download speed? That again is only at the moment. Again, technology can happen and your Wi-Fi can drop, but if you have to use your Wi-Fi, that's one way of checking that your Wi-Fi signal and strength is good to go, at least when you're going to be starting to go live or start recording. Restart your laptop. We were talking about, Angela and I were talking about this before as we were getting ready. It becomes, before you have to again record, go live, restart your computer. With all the apps that are on your computer, they all have to talk to each other. They may all be on different versions. Restarting allows there to be a sync between all the different versions of the technology so that they are talking to each other most effectively. When it comes to the people around you, an important solution to help you become more visible is to get support and find that environment, that team, that group. There's lots of different words out there that you can use, but really find that network of people who are really about supporting you. This is going to change over time as your needs grow, as you evolve and your business evolves. It's important though to have people around you who can really support and celebrate and share what it is that you are doing. When it comes to the external influences, locally, nationally, globally, it's really important to protect your mindset. Be very intentional around what information that you are choosing to allow to impact you and impact your decisions. This helps to allow you to make sure that you're not necessarily chasing after every single trend, or you're allowing something to create these ideas and these thoughts and these fears that may not actually be impacting you. So these are some solutions around the external factors that can become a reality of when you're becoming more visible in your business. So now I'm going to turn it to you. When we look at technology, the people around you, and the conditions around the globe, what are some solutions that you've implemented in your own business and your visibility journey to help overcome the visibility doubts, worries, or fears that you may have? Feel free to share in the chat. If you're watching this live, again, Angela is watching that chat as well. So what are some things that you've implemented in your business around technology, the people that you have around you, or really your mindset, protecting your mindset? What are things that you've implemented that have helped you to keep moving forward and to become more visible? Things that you've learned. Any tips? Wonderful. We've got asking for subject matter experts to help you out. Yes, yes. Instead of you figuring it out all on your own and spending how much time Googling it, sometimes the fastest and easiest way is to get help. Get help, because then you're getting the expert help, not our perception of what it is that we're interpreting when we're doing our own research. Fantastic. Thank you for that. Any other steps? Feel free again to write in the chat things that you learned.
It was like one of the people also posted that they started speaking on podcasts because they had a fear of speaking.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that about the podcast. Podcasts are great because a lot of the times I work with a lot of women who have that fear of showing up on camera. A lot of the times the podcast, they may be recorded on Zoom, but yet they're not using the recording. They're not using the camera piece of it. They're only focusing on the audio. So podcasts are a great way to increase your visibility without necessarily having to overcome those camera fears. And the great thing about podcasts when it's just the audio is you can have notes in front of you that you're referring to. No one is seeing that you are checking your notes. Wonderful. Yeah, watch video is perfect. So thank you for sharing solutions with your video using warm lighting, closed doors, and no pets. Yes, that's a great solution about learning about technology and things around you in your environment. The pets piece. Yeah, like I have 2 dogs right now. I've made sure they can't go running outside, but you still may hear them because, you know, doorbells ring with deliveries and they may bark. So thank you for sharing. So thank you for sharing your solutions, because your solution may be what someone else is looking for right now. Okay, the second piece, the internals. Now we're going to focus, instead of the things around us that are impacting visibility and business growth, we're going to now look at the internal piece, the reality and truths of the internal pieces that are holding us back and keeping us invisible. The first is, a little crystal ball I've got there, is clarity. And clarity comes from really understanding what it is that we want. A lot of times we know what we want in our business, but we have these business goals that we want to achieve. A lot of the times when I work with clients, it becomes, well, you've got this business goal, fantastic, I love it, but how does that equate to a visibility goal or a visibility strategy? When you've achieved that particular business goal, and we'll use the example of you want to increase your number of leads coming from social media by 20%. When you've achieved that goal from a visibility perspective, what does that look like? What steps have you taken in order to achieve that? How are you showing up? Where are you showing up? So getting really clear on what are your business goals, and then aligning it with visibility goals, that big goal, and then breaking down that visibility goal into much smaller, easier, more tangible steps. The clarity is also understanding around the clarity of, like, who am I when I'm showing up? Getting really clear on how you want to show up. What kind of presence do you want to leave with others? How do you want to be speaking? What do you want to be talking about? So when you have this clarity, then you know exactly when you're showing up, exactly what you're going to be talking about. So that when you show up, when you're going online, you're posting, you're speaking, people know that you are the expert in X. They know roughly the topic that you're going to be talking about. You're clear on how you're showing up, whether that be how you look, how to want to sound. So having that clarity is really important. When you have clarity, you can then start to create strategic plans around how you want to show up, where you want to show up, and specifically taking those steps that feel really good. It all starts though with having clarity. The internal things that also can help us grow our visibility in business or hold us back are the things that we are thinking and saying to ourselves. This is the internal dialogue. So really understanding that we can, and a lot of times the internal dialogue is creating the doubts, the worries, the fears that we talked about earlier, whether they be true or not. They could be helping to really create these limiting beliefs that are holding you back. I know something I used to tell myself that really had my fear of the camera was that I wasn't pretty enough. I didn't look like what people on video looked like. I didn't have that very finished, polished presence when I started doing video work, even when I started TV. So it created this, well, I can't show up in video because I don't look the way I'm supposed to, or I don't look or sound the way that I think other people are expecting me to show up. So this created that dialogue around, well, I'm not worthy. I'm not able to create the value. What am I going to say? So a lot of negative internal dialogue was happening that was holding me back from stepping out and being seen. So this self-talk. So really becoming aware of what are you saying to yourself when it comes to growing your business and taking these different visibility steps and strategies. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Those stories that you're telling yourself. The beautiful thing is that you can shift and change those stories to really transform how you're talking to yourself. And when you change the internal dialogue, how you're showing up externally will change. And the self-image, the last piece is the self-image. And that's really seeing yourself. Bob Proctor has a great quote, and the quote is, "You cannot outperform yourself self-image. That basically means that how you see yourself today, you cannot step beyond that. You have to start really developing a larger self-image, really stepping into that person that you are becoming, that future self, taking the steps to bring that future self into where you are today. So some solutions around the internal piece and really developing that is, when it comes to clarity, constantly asking yourself, what do you want? When it comes to your business goal, your visibility goals, that strategy that you want to take, what do you want? Get really clear on what you would like to do. And another tip for this is, when you identify what it is that you want, when it becomes how you want to be showing up, where you want to be showing up, ask yourself why 5 times and get really clear on exactly why you want to take a certain strategy. If you're really having a hard time coming up with those like really clear solutions as to the why, it may mean, especially if you're taking a certain visibility strategy, it's not the right strategy for you, or it may not be the right strategy right now. Asking these questions really allows you to get clear on where it is that you want to go, and are these next steps really the right ones for you? Do they feel good? Even if they feel uncomfortable because you're stretching, do they inherently feel good? This is really important when there's lots of trends that come and go, and you feel like everyone else is doing it, everyone else is getting really great results. So we start to believe, well, I need to do this too, but it doesn't feel good. Ask yourself these questions. Does that visibility trend and strategy align with your business goal, where you're moving and where you are right now in your business and visibility journey? So really get clear by asking yourself questions. When it comes to that internal dialogue, one suggestion and solution I can offer is really creating those affirmations that you would write, you would say. I record them onto my phone and I listen to them to help really rewrite the stories and the things that we're saying ourselves, and creating and shifting our beliefs around something. Again, when we change that internal image that we have, how we're showing up externally and towards others is going to change. When it comes to your self-image, something that I have done is picking one attribute that I really want to change about myself. So pick one thing, pick one person that you really admire who's doing something really fantastic. What about what it is that they're doing really aligns with you? What steps are they taking? How are they maybe showing up? What are they talking about? How are they talking? Pick that one attribute and then start finding a way to implement that in a way that feels good to you. Something I did around self-image years ago was, for me, the epitome of cool was aviator sunglasses, probably because of watching Top Gun when I was growing up. But for me, like, even buying a pair of aviator sunglasses, that internal dialogue was, well, you're not cool. You're not going to look good in those. There was so much I was telling myself that was holding me back from even buying the glasses. Once I bought the glasses, I started wearing them. Oh, like that again, who are you? Like, all this internal dialogue was basically telling me I shouldn't be wearing them. I wasn't worthy enough. But I kept wearing the glasses. I kept doing the affirmations. And now that's what I wear. I wear aviator sunglasses because they make me feel confident, because I've done all the work, the mindset, the skill sets, the techniques, to now feel comfortable wearing them, to understand, no, I deserve to do this. I deserve to step out in this way. So when it comes to those internal things that are holding you back from becoming more visible, or you've experienced in your business and visibility journeys, what are some solutions or steps that you've taken that have worked for you to show up in your business in new ways? Feel free to share in the chat. If you're live streaming, again, Angela is watching the chat there. So what are some solutions you've implemented in your business or your visibility strategies that have worked for you to overcome those doubts, worries, and fears, and take steps that feel really good? Take a quick drink. Not there yet. Not a problem. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah, it's really starting to think about this differently. Are you starting to, and for anyone who's here watching live, are you starting to think about visibility in a different way, the different perspective, seeing your visibility journey in a different way. You can just give me a thumbs up or a yes. But at the end of the day, this is all about increasing your awareness as well. Fantastic. Okay, we're almost there. Almost there. What happens? Okay. So solutions. So to recap, we talked about the external realities and truths about when you are becoming more visible and growing your business, specifically related to technology, people that you're surrounding yourself with, and things that are happening externally around the globe, conditions and circumstances. We also then talked about the internal realities and truths, really focusing on the importance of having that clarity of, again, who you are, where you're going, what strategies work well for you, aligning it to your current business goals so that there's a lot of alignment and things feel good. We're talking about those internal dialogues that we're having with ourselves, the things that we're thinking and we're feeling that a lot of times we're not saying outwardly to anybody else, but they're having an impact on how you're showing up, where you're showing up. And then the self-image piece, how you're seeing yourself in the mirror. And for all of these, we talked about different solutions on how to move forward, how to implement different steps that feel really good. And thank you again for sharing all of your solutions and things that you have learned over time. So that is it for me for the presentation piece of this. I'm really excited if, I think we're able to talk openly about this, but I'm happy to answer any questions and further support you in your business and visibility journey.
That's great. Before we get into any other questions, I don't see any on Facebook. So what we'll do is I will say thank you to our Facebook friends. We'll let you continue on, and hopefully we'll see you over the next few days with our other sessions that'll be running. Do make sure you check out the Business Center's website. We do have lots of sessions through the month of October with Small Business Month, and we also have a wonderful small business crawl, and that is slowly filling up. So there's only limited space. So if that's something that's interest of you, I'd please recommend taking a look at that now and getting registered for that. Aside from that, I want to thank Danielle today. I always love all your workshops and visibility. As someone who used to not do presentations in class, this is my life now. I live talking to people all the time. So getting over those hurdles is not always easy, but I know everybody can do there. You just gotta keep pushing forward. So thank you, Danielle, for those words of encouragement. And I'd like everybody in the Zoom room to just stick around for a second and we'll open the floor up for conversation. So give me 2 seconds. So thank you again, and bye to those who are watching us on Facebook.